And here we go again. We're off on the road to, well, you can see where we're going. Let's look at the hotel first. The Grand Oasis Songs it's called. And according to TripAdvisor, it's either the greatest place you could ever stay at, or I wouldn't stay there again if you paid me. Which goes to show just how useful TripAdvisor is. Here's a kind of a diagram of the place. It's confusing, but after a few days you get to find your way around the various locations. A couple of shots of the reception area, and everything else kind of just spread out from there. Very, very plush. Our room was on the 9th floor. The floor had only been completed a month or so ago, which probably accounts for the fact that there were 2 elevators, but one of them only went as far as the 8th. Very nice room, as you can see. Had a nice patio, complete with whirlpool Watson. See, we have a nice view. That's the inland waterway. And the Caribbean is just around the corner to the left. Photo of patio in use. When everything's included in the package, the bar has got to be important. And this one was a nice bar. Pros and cons. Well, it did have Tanqueray, my favourite gin, but it didn't have one decent scotch. So I tried, well, what are you going to try in Mexico? Tequila. Not very keen. Not very keen. I'm strictly a gin and scotch man. Ah, food. A lot of people in writing in TripAdvisor were not very happy with the food, but I don't know, maybe they're just hard to please. We loved it. Had a nice Mexican restaurant. Had one that was, well, I guess kind of Italian was the theme. They had great pizzas, so I was happy, and Margaret loves fish. These are our friends from Kansas. Kiki nightclub. We didn't eat there, we just went to look at it. Well, it was kind of weird, not our style. And then there was a lovely restaurant right on the beach that had great lunches. This large room waiting for customers is where the breakfast buffet and an evening buffet were served. The breakfast buffet was fantastic, marvelous, marvelous selection of everything you can think of, especially mountains of fruit. By the sea, by the sea, by the beautiful sea. You got to the sea by going down steps and past a series of pools for those who didn't want to brave the ocean waves. And gradually the Caribbean came into view. And what are you going to do? You're going to go swimming. And here we go, bravely. The sea apparently was quite rough, and you had to watch yourself. There's a lot of undertow, so kind of watch out. And here, nothing daunted, our brave heroine leaps, well, paddles into the water to join previously mentioned friends from Kansas. And what was our brave narrator doing? Well, I was reading a very good book. I prefer lakes to the ocean. Little history lesson. The Yucatan Peninsula, which of course is where Cancun is, was the home of the Mayan civilization. And just a 15-minute walk up the road from the hotel was El Rey, the king, I guess, in Spanish, and the home to some archaeological ruins and some very, very large lizards. Well worth a look. This day it was incredibly hot, and the lizards, of course, well, they don't mind. They just kind of sit there. But humans, like this one, that's a whole different ballgame. Well worth a visit. Cancun's a sizable city, a little larger than Hamilton, and you get to it by a bus stop right outside the hotel. The buses are plush and they drive very, very fast. I don't think 70 kilometers an hour speed limit is even known to them. They're comfortable. It costs you, let's see, about, I think it was 1 peso. Mexican cities, well, Cancun anyway, are not like the ones you see in the movies. They don't have Humphrey Bogart on the scrounge for a handout. And we didn't see Walter Houston either. Downtown is quite nice looking. We'll stay with black and white here. We even saw some cyclists braving the traffic, and good luck to them. I wouldn't have the courage. We found an information center, got a map, and made our way downtown to the central market, Mercado 28, which is market number 28. Margaret, no quest for cards, and we stopped off to have lunch at a nice place with, I guess you call it a mariachi orchestra to serenade us. A few more shots of the marketplace. It really is pretty. This one, I don't know, something happened to the color. I think the sunlight was so bright. And here's a nice shot of a, well, men's restroom. See how clean it is? We ended up at the post office, but the lineup was simply enormous. In the end, Margaret decided it was easier to write the postcards and then mail them from home. For our day in the country, we rented a very El Cheapo car. No radio, but air conditioning. It was nice and cheap. From the hotel, we headed out to what passes for an interstate in Mexico and headed south until we hit Puerto Morales. From there, we headed out into the unknown. Stopped along the way to take pictures of what looked to me like a pretty run-down goat farm. Except, well, maybe this is the way things looked out there. We were on our way to Leona Vicario, but before we got there, we ran into this rather suspicious character.
We are federales, you know, the mountain police.
If you're the police, where are your badges?
Badges? We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
We escaped with a caution. And so to Leona Vicario, which looked to us like a kind of a provincial market town. Is it typically Mexican? Oh, I guess it must be. Isn't really anything special about it, I guess. Everything is kind of semi-permanent. Nothing looks solid the way we're used to. But the people are happy. I don't mean that disparagingly. I mean they just like life. What's wrong with that? These little vehicles are everywhere. They're kind of taxis. And there's just a motorbike with a seat put on top of it. Here's the fruit market. Some shy schoolgirls and a town character. Interesting guy, lived in Montreal and had lots of stories to tell us. Don't even remember his name. We completed our drive by taking the expressway again, then going through downtown Cancun, whose traffic I can only describe as being like Montreal in the bad old days. All good things must come to an end, and we gotta go to our real home. But first we pack. The terminal at Cancun is actually built in the form of a circle, and in the center, another market. Your last chance to buy exotic goods made in Mexico, not China. I travelled with my cane, which meant we could sneak into the disabled line back in Toronto. That's all, folks.